Okay, so thank you everyone for joining today. Today's meeting is the Civic Core survey. Um, we concluded our survey yesterday. Do you, commissioners, do you all want to go through introductions or do you just want to go ahead and get started, conduct business?
Yeah, we should probably, we normally do commissioner introductions on,
Okay,
committee meetings or working group meetings.
okay. Peter, you want to start first?
Sure, I'm Peter Goslin. I represent District 6, which is largely the west side of Connecticut back to 42nd Street with the peninsula to the east. Welcome.
Lisa?
Yep. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Lisa Gore, and I'm the commissioner for ANC 43G01. And my area is all of Hawthorne and portions of Barnaby Woods. Here's Bruce.
Liz?
Yeah, thanks. Good evening, everyone. I'm Liz Nagy, and I'm Commissioner for SMD 07, which is half a military and to the south, Nevada on the east side, half of it, and toward the west, Reno, half of it, and toward the east, and on the south side, Chevy Chase Parkway.
Carol?
Yes, hi everyone. My name is Carol Grunwald. I'm the Commissioner for SMD 03, and the boundaries of my district are Utah Avenue to the northeast, 27th Street to the east, Broad Branch to the south and to the west, McKinley on the north, then it jogs north and east along Nebraska where it rejoins Utah Avenue.
Bruce?
Yeah, hi, I'm Bruce Sherman. I'm the commissioner in District 02, which runs from Military on the south, Oregon on the east, Utah on the west, and Tennyson on the north.
And then finally, I'm Corinthia Simmons. I have single member District 05, which is the east side of Connecticut from Legation all the way down to Western Avenue through the back of Broad Branch, which is the divider for Ward 3 and 4. I don't think we'll have Commissioner Fennessy with us today. So first order of business, we closed the survey yesterday. I believe the survey ended with 2,484 responses. And I just want to go through the commissioners and see if they have any paper responses that they would like to introduce or just note. So starting
Yes,
with Bruce.
I do. I have probably 47 or so. The vast majority of those are from Knollwood, from a June 14th survey presentation and survey event hosted by the Knollwood Residents Association.
Okay, so when will you have the accurate count of your surveys? I know
Well,
you said
the accurate count is about 47, give or take one or two. And the issue now is to enter those into SurveyMonkey manually.
okay. We could talk about that after. Anybody else have any paper surveys they want to mention?
10 paper surveys.
So Bruce has 47, Liz has 10. Carol?
That's Laura.
Carol, do you have any paper surveys?
Laura.
Okay, so I think, is that a no for Carol? So, hi Laura, we were just, we did brief introductions. Would you like to do an introduction? We were just going through how many paper surveys commissioners had.
Okay. My name is Laura Fennessy. I'm in 34G. No paper surveys.
Let me add, Commissioner Simmons, that I was the contact person kind of generally for paper surveys. And Laura, Commissioner Fennessy, there are, I believe, 3 people who reached out to me from your single member district for a paper survey.
Okay.
So, Corinthia, when I give the final count, the surveys that I have that are paper will include those 3.
So what other, besides yourself and Laura, what other single member district surveys did you have, and did you notify commissioners?
I think that is it. In terms of other surveys that people contacted me about. So that number that I gave you of 47 would include those. It may be 48. I'll go back and get the exact count.
Okay, Peter?
No, I have none. Carol has her hand up, and I missed the answer to the question. Do you have paper surveys?
Yes, I was trying to say I have 4, but
Four.
somehow my mic wasn't on.
Okay, good.
Lisa, do you have any?
No.
And Corinthia has none. So Bruce doesn't have an accurate count, so it's probably about 47. Liz has about 10. Carol has 4. And then Laura has 3 by way of Bruce. So what is the plan of action for these surveys? Because I know we have what's the plan of action? So what did you guys do in 2023 when you had surveys? I know, Bruce, you emailed and said you guys have more paper surveys than you guys had in 2023. So can you walk me through the steps that you guys did in 2023?
Yeah, we just had the additional paper surveys in 2023, and we included those in our final count. What we're proposing to do, I'm proposing to do differently this time, since I understand it is now feasible to do, which is to manually enter the paper surveys into SurveyMonkey so that all the responses will be in the same data set.
Okay, and then is there going to be like a verification process for that? Are you back in DC where we could do it together, or you intending to doing this on your own?
Well, as I mentioned via email, the survey paper copies we can aggregate those and all commissioners can see them to do a cross-check validation against what we enter into the SurveyMonkey system.
Can you repeat that one more time?
We have the paper copies. Everybody can take a look at them. So,
Where are they?
well,
If we have them, where are they?
I have them with me. We're on vacation at the moment, and I can begin entering them immediately. I wanted the survey to close before we started to enter manually information into SurveyMonkey.
Okay, so when you say we can enter them, you mean you can enter them?
Yeah, I can enter them, right.
Okay, and so I had mentioned, okay, when do you intend to enter those?
In the next few days.
What's few days? Because the survey closed, we have to give a response to DMPED by the 10th. Our next ANC meeting is the 7th. The goal for today's meeting was to share the results with the community. So we can go through and share the results with the community with survey results that have been submitted through SurveyMonkey, with the caveat that Bruce has 57, so about 64 surveys that he needs to manually enter.
No, I've got around, as I said, 47, 48.
Oh, well, that's the total population. So you
Okay.
have 47, Liz, so just about 64 that we still need to enter. So
Let's say
how are we gonna-
CLB Wednesday.
So how are you gonna get the surveys from Liz and Carol if you're on vacation?
Well, we can arrange for those surveys, for copies of those to be provided. They could take a photocopy of it, a digital photocopy, and send it to me. Or I can instruct them, we can give them the passcode to SurveyMonkey and they can enter it directly. That would be the easiest thing to do. All commissioners have access to SurveyMonkey.
Yes, and we have a limited number of people who can have their devices on there. Okay.
Well, we can coordinate that.
Okay. So then my next steps for the meeting was to just go through the survey. Go ahead, Lisa.
I would just suggest, if, for check and balance and audit purposes, that one person be designated to enter the surveys, a second person be designated to check the results. So I would suggest, if commissioners have outstanding surveys that are not in Bruce and Corinthia's possession, and Peter, because, well, technically Corinthia and Peter are the survey working group. So copies of those surveys should go definitely to them and Bruce, who said he would enter them, and then either Peter or Corinthia do the balance check.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay, so I will enter the ones that I have by, as I said, COB on Wednesday.
I'm gonna send mine to Bruce.
I'll enter them all. That's fine.
Yeah, I
Thank
can
you,
do
Bruce.
this. I can do the same.
Okay, and then Bruce, can you upload all the surveys that you received from the other commissioners onto the share drive? And then Peter, you want to do the cross balance check?
Let me just understand that. So Bruce, my understanding of what I'm doing is just looking at paper copy and comparing it to what got entered or a sample or something like that. So are you going to send me the paper copies, or when are you back from vacation?
We're back on Saturday, Peter. So if we can just do this, trust that what I'm entering is accurate information until I give you the paper copies for the cross check.
Fine with me. Fine with
Okay.
me.
You can upload them to our SharePoint site, not our SharePoint site, our shared drive.
But I have to then copy each one digitally and upload it. That's a
You can
major.
take a picture. I mean,
I'd have to take a picture of every page and combine them into a PDF. That's all. If we can do it this way, I think that probably just is the best.
I mean, each survey is like, how many pages?
10,
Yeah.
11 pages.
That's a
Right.
lot of copy. Look,
Right.
I'm fine. I mean, I will double check it, and we know there's that's going to happen, and so I'm not sure that we need to. We can trust along with verifying. You know, so that's on me.
Okay. All right, with that, so we have Bruce will upload the paper copies into SurveyMonkey by Wednesday. And close of business, is that 11:59 p.m. or 5 p.m.?
Well, just let's make it towards 11:59 and end of the day. I'll get.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now are we turning to the results?
Yes.
Or do people and do commissioners want to talk about those now or yeah?
Yeah, I haven't had an opportunity to look at any of the data, so it would be helpful to just, go over the data, what we have now, because
Mhm.
I haven't had a chance to look at any of that. I don't know if, other commissioners have or have not.
I've just I saw it this morning
Peter, you froze on us.
way. So I mean, just if you could, if Corinthia or Bruce or could just give the top lines, that would be a help.
Yeah,
Right.
I'll share my screen.
So one thing I want to mention, I put this on email to everyone. Now that we're in public session and we have members of the community online, I want to mention it for the public's benefit. In a normal survey process, when a survey is finished, there's a routine quality check on the data. This is true with every survey to determine if there are any anomalies, any issues that have come up during the conduct of the survey. That assessment, that quality check, that analysis happens before results are released publicly. That gives the sponsoring organization an opportunity to catch anything that might be problematic, might be questionable, before the public sees the data. Now, there are multiple benefits in that. Obviously, data that are reported, we as a commission or any organization sponsoring a survey wants to ensure that it's the most accurate information possible. And secondly, of course, in this particular case, we have a survey program of ours that we're also interested in maintaining the integrity of. So there are multiple reasons, as I explained, that we'd want to do that. We haven't done that. The survey ended last night at midnight. So my view expressed to you, I'll reiterate it here, is that it's a bit premature to release the data.
Peter.
Could I ask Bruce, what did we do in this regard in 2023?
What we did in this regard in 2023, Peter, as you'll recall, is that I was monitoring the returns as they came in.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched in real time for any anomalies that I detected. And once the data came in, all the data, we had a complete data set. I looked at it again and went over it. In the time since the 2023 survey, I think we're all mindful of the very robust community discussion that took place around that survey. And there were many questions that were raised about the representativeness of the survey related to any possible duplicate responses that were possible. We've all seen this over the last, whatever, year and a half, 2 years. So in this particular case, I think given those concerns, it's wise of us to look at the data set as we have it now that it's complete, to do routine quality checks. Do we see anything in the data that would give us pause? That's the point.
But Bruce, can I just interrupt? I mean, you've been watching this in real time, and I think Corinthia has been watching it in real time as it has come in. I mean, were there any anomalies?
Yes.
Well, tell us.
What are those anomalies?
So here's a question for the commission and for our public meeting. Again, typically in these circumstances, we as a sponsoring organization would do normal processing before we presented issues with regard to the community before the public. So Peter, if you'd like,
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Anomaly. I mean, tell us what the
anomalies are. I'm sorry, it's 7:22. I don't got all night. Please tell us what the anomalies are that you may have monitored. What are the anomalies?
Okay. So will you allow me to share a screen?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have that power. I just got here, so I mean,
I'm trying to see, where do I do that at?
You got to make him. I'm not a host. You got to make him a co-host.
So how do I make people co-host?
see,
Go to their name and click on the 3 buttons.
at the top of at the right top of Bruce's picture.
Yep.
And let me just say this before you share. I have been trying to decide whether or not the ANC should go into a brief executive session to discuss the legality of some of the information that was posed. I understand the concern about the anomalies, but I also have a concern about the data collected. I just think I have some concerns there on both sides of it. But I don't know what the best issue is here. But I think we need to think about it very carefully.
Liz?
Yeah, it seems to me that since you can't put the genie back into the bottle, that the better course is not to make it public until you're sure that it's appropriate to make it public.
And sometimes, Liz, we have a tendency to disagree. I'm being very cautious on this, folks, just from my background, and I'm sort of absolutely leaning towards Liz. And I know, Bruce, I haven't had an opportunity to discuss it with you or really any of the commissioners, but I just am really concerned about a step in the process. And I would, like to discuss that with the commission. And either, like I said, it's a legal issue, I think, that we could probably discuss in executive session. And I'm really inclined to get a legal opinion. That's how concerned I am about it. And if I go that route, I know it would completely kind of derail our timeline, unless they're willing to expedite that opinion. But I just really have some concerns.
Can you say more about what the legal issue is?
What are they? Right.
Well, I think we have collected a data point that the general public was not aware of. And I'm concerned about the sensitivity of that data point. Um, and again, I'm just coming from kind of a background of, I supervise a cyber team. Um, and I don't know where that data is. I don't know who's looked at it. I don't know. And like I said, I haven't looked at any of the data that was sent out today. I don't know if it's already been released to us. I don't know how it might be stored. I have a ton of questions about it. And the community we just did not disclose this. And I think I think it's an issue. It's an issue of sensitive information.
Could I ask Bruce, did we collect anything this time that we didn't collect last time?
No.
We did the exact same thing last time. Whatever personal or identifiers, we didn't get anything this time that we didn't get last time in 2020. Is that right?
There are two types of data: the data that we solicit by way of the survey and the metadata that concerns the survey takers. It's all the same, except for some variations in the questions on the survey.
Okay. I mean, I just, we ought to treat this exactly the same. I mean, look, I'm happy to handle this any way others want to. I mean, if there's a question that, if we've done something different and that we disclosed last time and didn't disclose this time, I mean, let's the seven of us hash it out. I mean, anyways, I'll listen to the debate.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't understand what Lisa was referring to at all. Lisa, can you explain what you were talking about?
In open session, I'm not going to, Carol, and I explained that it's a sensitive data point.
But
Um,
what are you referring to? A data point?
well,
What are you referring to? I don't know
it
what
is
you.
what
then
it is.
it's in the email Bruce
It's
sent
in the
earlier today.
email that Bruce sent out. If you read that email, he explicitly says what it is, and I have a concern. It
Data
is a potentially sensitive data point, and that was not known to the public. And
data.
anybody with any idea of how you interact with data knows that that's a sensitive data point, and we have to have some rule and procedure. And we didn't discuss it prior to doing the resolution. I mean, a survey. We haven't really discussed it now. There's a lot of discussion that needs to take place about handling that particular data point.
So to be clear with everybody, so that there's no mystery to the community listening in,
No.
information that I would present to the commissioners by way of a quality check does not reveal any sensitive information.
But you have access to it.
Well, we all have access to it by virtue of fielding a survey like this.
We
Right.
didn't tell people we will have access to that.
Well, that's implicit in a survey when people
No,
take
it's not. No, it's not when it's an option to turn it off.
I disagree with that. And on its own, Bruce, you're right. If it's just that one data point, but the concern, and from somebody coming working in that field that looked at that type of data daily, it's when information is combined and how that information is treated. So it's not just, and that is my concern, that anyone on the commission can get access to it. That is my primary concern. And I can, people don't want their potential personal data out there. So these are just discussions that we should have had the same, prior to doing it. We're kind of like at the back end, but I'm just saying, yeah. Oh, actually, Andrea, yes, I do have the same concern about 2023 because it wasn't raised in 2023. And actually, one of the things I am going to ask the commission, and Bruce, you said we collected the same data. I want now the whole data point from 2023. So yeah, I do. I am concerned about the 2023 data.
So,
Liz,
Sorry, I was trying to see, I was going back to Bruce's email, trying to figure out what you're talking about, Lisa. So I'm not actually sure that we do agree. I was trying to make the point that whatever we're doing, it's probably not a good idea to do it publicly at this point. Whatever that is, we're not prepared.
Which is why I recommended.
Yeah, I mean, I
Into
agree with,
executive
I
session.
agree with that we're not prepared and we shouldn't, it's premature. It's premature, which was the point that people were trying to make this afternoon.
Exactly.
So hold it.
Okay, wait, I've got my hand up.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
I mean, some people are speaking out of turn and some people are doing it the right way here. Bruce, can you explain to me what we're talking about? What is this mystery data point? I have not a clue what that is referring to.
Yeah, it's IP addresses.
Okay, thank you. And
So
that's,
so the issue is that we have as a community, not just the commission, as I say, there's been a lot of conversation on the listserv, public debate around the prior survey concerning potential duplication.
right,
You've indicated, I've made it very clear that SurveyMonkey seeks to prevent duplication by device,
right.
but not by IP address.
Got
If therefore you wish to try to get a better sense of whether there has been any duplication, or let's say multiple responses per IP address, you have to do a separate analysis on the IP addresses, which SurveyMonkey itself doesn't provide.
Right. I understand. Now, thank you. I understand IP addresses. I didn't understand the words data point. Had no idea what that meant. All right, thank you.
Did we not? Yeah, did Bruce? I seem to remember talking about this very issue in 2023, and you're saying essentially it's not a problem, or and why is it a problem this time and it wasn't a problem then?
I did not detect, Peter, as I said, when I was doing the real-time monitoring of the returns in 2023, an issue that would have merited at the time doing a separate analysis of the IP addresses. That's what I've reported from 2023 on.
So look, can I just let me make this suggestion? I mean, we finished the survey. I mean, if it turns out that this problem merits adjusting the numbers, or fine, but I mean, can't we just talk about get the basics out there? I mean, you said there was robust discussion of all these issues in 2023. I mean, I don't see that we had any less robust discussion this time around. I mean, is the concern you're going to raise so deep that you Bruce, are going to raise so deep that we should throw out the whole survey?
No, not throughout the whole survey, but you and the other commissioners need to understand what's in play. And I have separately suggested also that we do this in a way in which we as a commission take stock of what we see in the survey before releasing the results publicly. That's been my recommendation.
Okay, I must say we didn't. I mean, I don't think there's any. I suspect if we did a sort of count of the number of times you checked in on the data and Corinthia checked in on the data, we'd find it was just about as many times as you all checked in on the data in 2023. So, I mean, we finished the damn thing. Shouldn't we? If it's not going to cause us to throw it out, we may have to modify it. I mean, we may have to clean it up. But why don't we just release it? We're not. This is not a deeply scientific. We talked. You are the one who's made pitches about how this is a way of talking to our neighbors. Well, we talk to our neighbors. I mean, among other things, what impresses me about this is that we got a pant load of responses. I thought people were so surveyed out that we weren't going to get responses, and we got a lot of them. So, I mean, I'm happy to do an executive session, but this notion of like, we're going to guard this like scientific discovery until it's verified 10 ways to Sunday. I mean, it seems,
It's not,
why don't we just talk about the basic raw, yet to be totally analyzed data. Anyways, my opinion.
Thanks, Peter. So I'm gonna have my hand up next. So I have some concerns. I think us going through and trying to remove duplicate IP addresses is silencing our residents. Multiple people can have the same IP address. For example, I have a resident who called me because his wife took it on their computer. I text him and I said, you can do the survey from your phone. If we're all connected to the same Wi-Fi, won't we all have the same IP address? So my thought is that we share the survey as is. I noticed in 2023, you guys also counted incomplete responses as a part of your data point. Our current survey right now has incomplete responses as a part of our data point. I think we should take the survey responses as is. I feel that filtering it out and deleting things I don't like that. It feels a little bit grimy and sneaky and conniving. We have the survey results as is. I looked in the settings and how they were set up. We could have set the settings to turn the IP address collection off. And that point may have made the survey anonymous, as though we have told our residents the survey would be anonymous. So if we have a survey response that has someone IP address, that note them as Black, that note them as living in a single family home or apartment, that notes them as having children of a certain age, that takes the data and makes it more personally identifiable. So I have an issue with that. I want to stay away from any of that. I already have expressed to this commission that I have issues with certain residents in the neighborhood who are off. So I don't want to have anything to do with personal data. And I think we should move forward with the results as they are. No one could take, and I know this was a main point of yours, Bruce, that no one can take the survey from the same device. You said that's why we did Survey Monkey. That's why we didn't use this Go Vocal, in which the commission has paid over $5,000 for. We did Survey Monkey because you said people cannot take it twice, and there won't be any issues and there won't be any delays. And now there's all these anomalies with the data. So I would prefer that we use the data as is and move forward. We have 9 days to submit to DMPED. And I just feel this is another way of trying to derail this project and sabotage it. And I don't like it. So my one time talking, go ahead, Carol.
Yeah, so what I'd like to say is that I would like to know if there are any anomalies. I would like to know if there was cheating. I'd like to know, I'd like to know. I realize that small numbers of small cheating couldn't be detected, but I'd like to know if someone sat down at an IP address and put 50 votes. I'd like to know that. And I think that the data has to be examined for that purpose. And no one is deleting anything from the survey, Corinthia. No one would delete anything. We're not.
Bruce email said to
Excuse
delete.
me, I'm speaking right now.
I was just
I'm
correcting.
speaking right now.
Okay.
No one is deleting any. Excuse me, I'm speaking right now.
Yes, you
No
are.
one-
I was just letting you know that Bruce email said he wanted to delete duplicates. So I don't want you to infer that I'm making up something that people would delete it. Bruce email said that.
I'm going to interrupt you next time, Corinthia, okay? All
Okay.
right. So what I was trying to say is I personally would like to know if there were any large anomalies. I'd like to know if there was widespread or a major cheating event. I'd like to know that. And I think that Bruce can examine the IP addresses and determine that without giving any personal information away. It would be presented to us, and we can make a decision if there is if there was a large incident of cheating, we as a commission could decide what to do about that. And so no one is saying that anything would be deleted. What we're saying is we want to look at the information and see if there was any cheating. That's what I'd like. That's what I'd like to have done. And I think it should be done in executive session, not in public, unless unless Bruce has evidence of widespread cheating and the person who's in that SMD wants to be embarrassed in public. We could do it in public. Thank you.
Lisa?
Yeah, that was amazing. First of all, we have no evidence. And this is the problem. You cannot tie an IP address to surely no commissioner. What you just said, Commissioner Grunwald, was a horrible insinuation that whoever district pops up is going to be embarrassed. I highly doubt that. We cannot prove anything with anything we have. I'm the only investigator by trade on this commission.
I would be very
I can
embarrassed
tell
if there
you,
was widespread
and
cheating.
I can tell you that we have no evidence to prove anything. Unless you have tape, voice, email, direct evidence, you have nothing. You have basically IP addresses, and you just have, if you check the chat, you've had multiple people on this call say that in their household they have the same IP address. And this is my second issue. And this is why I was saying and wanted to handle this in executive session to tie this at this point to someone on this commission is insane. It's rude. It's incomprehensible. You have no idea if there was widespread cheating, who did it. It could have been someone from the opposite side. If someone has a bunch of, in this community, as much as people on this commission have been harassed, intimidated by other people in this community because our viewpoints, it wouldn't cross your mind that someone on this commission maybe was set up. That's a possibility. And in terms of investigation, that would be something you would have to investigate.
I don't know.
But to say what you said is really incomprehensible. To tie this to a sitting commissioner is incomprehensible. And I am really upset by that. And I knew that is where this was going to go.
I think you need to stop shouting.
No, I do not. When you say something like that and you accuse by insinuation one of your fellow commissioners, Commissioner Grunwald, no, I do need to speak up. And I need to speak up so that this community knows how serious what you said is. It's a wrongful insinuation where you have no proof, no evidence, no anything. And people can have multiple IP address. Yes, I am going to keep talking. And I'm glad your constituents see the type of behavior that we have to deal with you. This is constant. Okay. And you can sit up there and do little hand talking and gestures. That is so unprofessional. That's horrible. And we have, this is the type of thing on this commission that I continually see. I am on my third term and have never been exposed to this type of nonsense. And it is wrong. It is wrong. It's the same thing I see towards community members, transportation committee, race committee. Now we have it here. We do not know what this data says, and we have no way to prove anything. And what's the cutoff point? Are we going to say if an IP address bounces with two devices or however, I don't even know how it works. If it shows up in 2 votes, we're going to take it out. Is it 4 votes? We're going to take it out. If you go to a public Wi-Fi spot on the avenue and log into their Wi-Fi, that can change your IP address. Did anybody consider that? There are a realm of possibilities. And we have to discuss that before we accuse and say that somebody's going to be embarrassed by it. And why would, so if the insinuation, actually, I'm glad you said what you said, because now I know there's been more talk about this than the commission actually knows. That's all I have to say.
Liz?
Look, there's a lot of bad feeling here. Could we go into executive session and hear, let's find out what this thing is and get it behind us. And we need to get these results out. We need to we need.
That's why I can share my screen and show the community the results, what I was looking at in SurveyMonkey. And we can, as we share the screen, Bruce can talk about the anomalies that he's seen.
I haven't
Um,
accused
excuse me,
anyone
I
of
have my
doing
hand-
anything.
I
What
beg
I
your
said
pardon.
is that I would like to know if there are any major anomalies. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And if there were major anomalies happening in my
Hold it, you went on mute. You went on mute. You're mute.
Carol, you muted yourself somehow.
Well, while
Now-
No, actually, did you mute yourself?
can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't accuse anyone of anything. So Lisa is way, way out of line.
No,
What I
I'm
said-
not.
what? Oh my God.
You insinuated that a commissioner was going to be embarrassed.
Oh my
It was
God.
your insinuation, Carol.
This is
I
just,
think that that's what she said.
I need
Lisa,
to-
I
I need
don't
to
think
finish-
that that's
I
what
need-
she said.
I would like to finish what I said. What I said was, I didn't accuse anyone of
out of
anything.
time.
I said I would like to know if there are any major anomalies. I would like to know that. I'd like to know if there was any cheating. I didn't accuse anyone of anything. And I said that if there were widespread, if there were cheating in my SMD, I would be embarrassed. That is what I said, Lisa.
But you can't equate this to cheat, even to use that word. When people have on this call have sat up here and put in the chat, they've identified themselves and said, in my household, everybody has the same IP address. What if someone in their commission had a couple incidents of that? What if someone in their commission, which I know multiple people have been at multiple houses taking these surveys, what if multiple people are taking a survey at the same time and talking about the survey?
I'd like to know what those anomalies are and then make a decision on that point. I don't think that 2 or 3 people using the same IP address is cheating.
Let's not forget
But
Chevy
if
Chase
50,
Boyd
but
said
if
every
50, but if
adult.
50, but if 50 people are using the same IP address, I'd like to know about it.
Where would
I
50
don't
come from?
disagree with that. And what I said is we have to also understand how that could be occurring outside of the realm of cheating. And that is a possibility in open settings with public
Had our
Wi-Fi.
hands up for quite some time. I just want to point that out.
Yes, we know how it feels. Peter, you're next. Peter, Bruce, and Laura. And hopefully we can move forward with sharing the results with the community.
So I suggest that you call on the people who haven't spoken, Laura, and then we go into executive session. Let's hear what Bruce has to say. I mean, I mean, to Carol's point, I mean, one way to handle this without getting into trouble is just to say to Bruce, I mean, is there a lot of this stuff? I mean, that you think, I mean, again, what I meant by the question, like, is this sufficiently, there's sufficient amount of it that we would throw out the survey or that it would fundamentally change the results? If it isn't, then we're agonizing over something that we don't need to agonize over. We're a small volunteer commission. What are we doing? Like, it's a community survey and we're acting like we're like, we're like, it's like the federal government, the UN or something like that. I mean, so Laura hasn't spoken. I'd like to hear from her. And then I think, if we can get into executive session, find out what this is, find out the extent of it, and then get on with this and like release the results. And unless there is something incredibly untoward that I can't imagine, but so how about that? It's on you, Corinthia. You're chairing this thing.
I thought Laura was gonna go, but before we change subjects, I just want everyone to know that there have been commissioners, Chevy Chase Voice, everyone has been telling people to make sure that every adult in your household takes the survey. So if you have 6 adults in your household, 6 IP addresses. But Laura, are you there? You have your hand up. I don't know if you stepped away.
Might have stepped away.
Okay, Commissioner Sherman.
Said she was going off the video, but she was there, but maybe she actually walked away for a minute.
So I
Oh, I think she might be back, but sorry.
I agree with Commissioner Gosselin's suggestion. Executive session, Commissioner Gore's mentioned potential legal issues. That's a justification for doing an executive session, ultimately not to keep the information from reaching the public. But as I said at the top, we as a commission own the survey, and any sponsoring organization would do routine quality checks before releasing data.
Okay, Bruce.
I just say, I think we ought to treat this just the way we treated 2023, and I don't see the real-time monitoring issue as any different now than it was then. So I'm lost about why we're doing this differently. But
Commissioner Gosselin, you asked me a
let's do the executive session and find out just how extensive, if at all, this is, and we can go from there. So how
Somebody
do
make a motion, please, to go into
We
executive
cannot-
This
session.
is not a mo, it's not,
This is not a
Yeah.
public meeting. We cannot take any official action. We can't do that.
we can't go into executive
It's
session?
not a public
No, we
meeting.
can't
No.
It's
take a
notice to the
vote.
public.
We can't take a vote.
it's not a public, this is a working group. It's not an ANC meeting.
Right.
So-
But
So,
it isn't,
I'm sorry.
that's actually not true. It is a meeting with a quorum of commissioners, and we
But it's
can.
the intent, the intent, Liz. Please, this is not a meeting of the commission where we are conducting business. It's not just because we have a quorum. We could have a quorum on the corner. It's the intent of the meeting.
So I'm sorry, can we
conduct-
not
Like
get
you- I
into,
would like you to point me to where it says that
Oh
in
my God.
Robert's rules, please.
It's not Robert's rules. It's actually DC code. And we've had this conversation with Office of ANC. And if you've gone to the ANC orientation, they discuss this same thing.
I did go,
okay,
that's actually a
sorry,
really cheap
guys,
shot.
I'm sorry to
Liz.
interrupt.
No, you asked me to point to you where the
I
information
did.
is, and I
Please,
pointed.
Corinthia, don't
I
interrupt
said
me.
No,
Don't
I
interrupt
want
me.
I want to let the
Not
members of the
interrupt me.
public know that we're gonna go
Not
to
interrupt
executive
me.
session. I would not like to belabor people
You
in
wouldn't
with their
belabor
time
them.
of this.
the wrong
So I
word.
wanna let so what? I said what I said.
Yeah,
So
well,
anyhow,
there you go.
members of the public, we are gonna go in executive session. I'm sorry that we have taken your time. We did not get to share the results with you. Hopefully, there will be some type of announcement. We will share the results with you some other way, but it won't be today. We appreciate you for joining.
okay, so
Feel free to drop off. I'm interrupting to save you guys from all this arguing. But come on now, it just gotta stop.
yeah, I agree. Please
How
hold-
do I stop recording? Oh, here we go. Stop.